If you bought your first hairdryer last century, if you bought your hairdryer in 1985 and got a free 𝐿𝐴 if the 90s are calling and asking for their 2-inch Conair Big Curls curling iron back, it might be time to replace those heat tools. Okay, seriously though, if you have breakage and odd bits of frizzy hair and you aren't sure why, if you are embracing your natural silvers and you are concerned about heat damage, if you have yellowing but you aren't sure why or where it's coming from, you need to look at your heat tools. Heat protection cannot do the job alone, but modern tools can help. Hello silver friends, this is Joli from QuickSilverHair. I hope you enjoyed my cute little intro there. I had fun making that. Anyway, if you're just starting out on this journey of growing out your silver hair, it's important to understand whether or not you need to replace your heat tools or not, because heat damage, unfortunately, once it occurs, it's permanent damage. If you're new to this journey, this will help you decide whether or not you need to buy new heat tools. If you've been on this journey for quite some time and you've grown your silver hair out all the way and you're experiencing some yellow that you can't quite put your finger on and you are using heat tools, this might be information to help you pinpoint what's causing the yellowing. This video is not designed for you to rush out and buy new heat tools. That is not the point of this video, quite the contrary. What I would like to do is be able to see if the tools that you do have are perfectly acceptable and don't need to be replaced, or if you have something that is a little too old, a little too worn out, maybe doesn't have the tech in it that it should, and you don't want to have yellowing on your silver hair. Again, unfortunately, heat damage is permanent, and the only way to get rid of heat damage is to grow it back out or cut it off. You can tone it with purple shampoos and conditioners to help mitigate the look of the yellow, but that doesn't take away the heat damage, it only covers it up. With any luck, this video will help you to avoid the pain and frustration of heat damage due to tools that should be replaced. For one, let's do a heat check. You can buy this cool little infrared thermometer. It's a little gun. You point it at whatever you want to test the temperature of, and there's a little laser. You point that laser at the heat source and it'll tell you how hot the heat is coming out of that source. So it's about $20 or so. I will link one in the description box below. I've had this for quite some time. I have used it to test all of the heat tools that I have tested and reviewed for the channel and for my blog. It's a great tool for me. It may not be something you will use all the time, but it could come in handy for this task. If you don't want to purchase one of these, maybe you got a meat thermometer in your kitchen, you can use that. You're not going to get exactly the same kind of results, but you can take the heat thermometer and lay it on the tool to where the metal of the heat thermometer is actually touching the heat source of the tool to gauge what the temperature is coming out of that tool. Alternatively, if you're testing a flat iron or a curling iron, you can take a plain white piece of paper and clamp down on it on the highest setting. If it catches on fire, then it is over 450 degrees and it will damage your hair because paper and hair catch fire at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. So the temps you want to know: between 248 degrees Fahrenheit and 392 degrees Fahrenheit, heat degrades the proteins in your hair. This damage starts with breakage and then the oxidation process begins, which will turn white hair yellow. After about 420 degrees Fahrenheit, the hair will start to feel rough and can burn the cuticle. Essentially, the keratin in your hair is melting. The degradation begins sooner than you may think, depending on the source. Hair damage begins to occur at 230 degrees Fahrenheit. At 360 degrees Fahrenheit, this should be the max point. You should not need to style your hair with any tool that gets over 360 degrees Fahrenheit, and this is where true damage really starts to show up. Again, the hair burns at 450 degrees. So the temps per tool, you shouldn't need any irons that go over 365 degrees, and you shouldn't need a blow dryer that goes over 250 degrees. And most blow dryers, if they are hitting underneath 250 degrees, are probably not going to cause very much heat damage unless you're doing blowouts with the concentration nozzle. If you're using a diffuser, you're probably not going to get heat damage. And if you stay on medium or low with your hair dryer, you're likely not going to experience heat damage. I still say use a heat protectant just in case, because depending on your hair type, if you have really fine, thin hair, it's going to be more prone to heat damage. The thicker, coarser hair you have, the less prone it is to heat damage. Number 2 is smell check. I mean, this is pretty simple. If you can smell something burning when you turn your tool on, it's probably time to replace it. Number 3, sensor check. So modern tools have heat sensors that regularly go through and check the temperature as you're using the device. So the sensor is continually coming on and checking the device to make sure it stays at the temperature that you've set it on. Older tools and older tech do not have these sensors in them, and the sensors can wear out. So you would really ideally like to have tools that do have these sensors, so you're pretty much guaranteed that when you set it at a certain temperature, it's at least there or somewhere close to that temperature. You can check this with the infrared thermometer. You can turn the tool on, and if you see that the temperature starts going up and then all of a sudden comes back down, if it goes up and suddenly comes back down, it likely has heat sensors in it to regulate that temperature. Frankly, I think the heat sensor tech is worth its weight in gold, and it should be something you consider if your tools don't have heat sensors at all. 4 is probably going to surprise you. Many people don't think about this, but you want to check your irons and any tool that comes into direct contact with your hair for chips, cracks, and scratches. Especially flat irons, if you notice that they're chipped, they're usually coated, and that coating, if it's chipped, is no longer protecting your hair from the heat source. So you want to be really careful there. If you have scratches or chips or breaks in those plates, you want to make sure that you replace them for another reason, and that is to protect your hair from being torn, broken, or cause mechanical damage as you slide your hair through those plates and the scratches tear up your hair. Number 5 is the age of your tool. If your heat tools are over 10 years old and don't have any of those heat sensors in them, it's probably time to replace them. The older the tool, the less the new modern tech there is in it, and the likelihood of you burning your hair with an older tool is much greater. You may not have noticed it if you were dyeing your hair, because the color of burnt hair may blend in with whatever dye you were dyeing your hair, so you just didn't see it. But on silver hair, you will see it if you burn it. So number 6 is check the type of plates. Are they the right plates for your hair type? So if you're looking at your flat irons in particular, the type of plate is actually designed for different hair types. I did not know this until I started researching heat tools, but I found it quite fascinating, and I think it's really important information. And as consumers, you stand there and you have no idea what thing to buy and why. So I thought I would give you this little bit of information. If you don't know what's on the plate of your tool and you have a certain hair type and you're concerned about this is good information so that when you go to buy a new flat iron, you can pick the correct plate for your hair type. If you don't know your hair type, I will link my blog post in the description box below so that you can learn your hair type and learn which plates are the best for your hair type. And no matter what color your hair is, this is good information to have because of hair type. So tourmaline coated is a crushed crystal coating over any type of plate. When heated, tourmaline emits negative ions, which reduces static and frizz. Ceramic coated plates, coating made of clay, they are more gentle on any fragile hair type, best suited for fine to normal and thin to normal hair types. Titanium plates are metal plates best suited for coarse and thicker hair types. Titanium plates get very hot, so use with caution. Avoid if you already have heat damaged hair. Overall, if you want to play it safe, stick to tourmaline coated ceramic. Number 7 is check the range of controls you have on your tools. The more controls you have over the tool, the more you can customize it to your hair type. On flat irons and curling irons, you want to check the settings. If it only has low, medium, and high, and you have no idea what that temperature is, turn it on, check it with a heat thermometer, or invest in the best curling irons and flat irons you can that actually show you what the temperature is. Remember, you don't need anything that goes over 365 degrees. There are flat irons out there that come only to 365 degrees. I say don't do that, because what if you don't need your tool to be 365 degrees to achieve your style? If you only need 210, then you're mitigating damage by turning that tool down. If you can't turn it down, if you can't control it, you can't customize it to your hair type. On hair dryers, if it only has low and high, I would say see if you can find a hair dryer that has at least a cool shot and a low button and medium and high temperatures. One of the reasons I love the Lifen hair dryer is because it does have that oscillating setting where it can go from room temperature to hot and go all through the ranges of temperature, so it's kind of vacillating, but then it also has cool, medium, and high. I think that, again, the more controls you have, the better you can customize it to your hair type. Number 8 is cord check. Check the cord on your devices. Make sure that they are not melted or frayed or cracked in any way. This could cause electrical surges to run through that cord and, kind of jolt your tool and change the temperature. I actually have seen this happen and it burned somebody's hair, and I think that this is worth really making sure that your cords are in good condition and have no issues. So let's go over some buying tips. If you are going to go ahead and invest in some new tools, get on the manufacturer's website for the tool and look at the tech specs. Most of them are available, even if you choose to buy the tool from another source and not go, like for instance, if you were gonna buy a Dyson, you can go to Dyson and check out all the tech specs on the device, on their website. All the information is there. You don't necessarily have to buy it there, but you see what I'm saying. Again, when you get the device, test it. Test the heat output and make sure it's not getting so hot that it ends up burning your hair. I also suggest buying from places that have a good long return window, at least 30 to 90 days, so you can test the tool out and return it if you need to. I think this is a really good way for you to decide whether or not a tool is going to work for you. You can check the temperatures, you can use it on low, you can use it on medium, you can use it on high, and see how well it works for you and your hair type. And that's, good information. And hey, if it doesn't work for you, take them up on that return policy. Most of the time with a device like a hairdryer or a curling iron, they refurbish it and put it back on the market at a discounted price. So it's no harm, no foul. Dyson, Sephora, Ulta, Amazon, all allow returns on most heat appliances. So just check to see if a return is available and go that route so that you can give it that good test. If your tools don't pass this checklist, it might be time for new ones. So again, temperature check, dryers should be below 250, irons below 365, smell check, sensor check, check for chips, cracks, and scratches, check the age of your tools, check the type of plates, check the range of controls, and check out that cord. So my favorite SilverSafe heat tools are the Lifen Swift hairdryer with the diffuser. I love this dryer. I have been using it for over a year. I use it several times a week, and I feel like I have never damaged my hair with it. It has that great oscillating feature between low and high heat, so you're never actually staying on high heat with it. I do tend to dry my hair on medium with it most of the time, especially when I'm in a hurry, get the job done. But I really love the functionality and all of the settings that you can customize to your hair type. The next tool I would recommend is a hot brush. This is a tool that a lot of Silver Sisters want, and I finally found one I feel like I can actually confidently recommend, which is the Paul Mitchell NeuroSleek Smoothing Hot Brush. I just did a review on that. I'll link it in the description box below, along with the review on the Lifen Swift hairdryer. My flat iron is the Kristen S 3-in-1 ceramic flat iron. I don't flat iron my hair very often, but I do feel like this one is a really good tool, and that it has a screen on it that tells you the actual temperature you've set it at. So I think that's really beneficial, and I have tested it and it's very accurate. I don't know that it's the best flat iron out there, but I don't flat iron my hair often enough to continue hunting for one. I do think that if you want to invest in one, again, make sure that it has heat sensors in it, make sure that it tells you what the temperature is, and stay below 365 degrees. So that's it for this video. Everything will be linked in the description box below. If you have any comments or questions, please leave those in the comments section. That's one of my favorite things about posting videos, is chatting with you afterwards about your thoughts and opinions or questions. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please hit that thumbs up button. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, because I would love to see you next time. Until then, shine on.